This is Auri, Desert Flower. This is the official video. So Auri is a side project for Tuomas with Troy and his wife Johanna. It's a folk-ish mood music, and Johanna sounds beautiful. I'm sure she does. Let's hear her. Well, Troy sounding beautiful is a given. Yes.
All I wanted was for to see your smile break out, a mirror for the sun and the early rising moon. All I wanted was all I wanted was
As the light on the steps, follow you, hear me slowly breathe. Cross the line, up the steps, follow you, hear my fading voice.
All I wanted was for to wake you from our dream, the hope of kingdom come, drifting out across this field. All I wanted was past the line on the steps, follow you, hear me slowly breathe, and we'll cross the line up the steps, follow you, hear my fading voice. Once this morning has passed.
Wow. This is such an atmospheric song. It's kind of like, I'm watching the video, which is always gorgeously done. Whoever produces these videos for Tuomas and his projects, really, really tasteful, especially when pairing them with music. And when you're watching it and you're listening, it's like the rest of the world kind of fades away. Because there's so many layers, orchestrally, the orchestration has so many layers. The music has so many layers into it. There's like a little percussion. I'm sure Troy is playing some of he plays like 1,000 instruments, right? So he's probably playing some of that. And his voice is so rich. I've never heard Troy this way, front and center in a studio recording. But his voice has so many colors, and I'm trying to think of something similar, a sound similar, but it's hard to do that. It's very, very friendly for like folky, and yet it's also so smooth. It kind of has a classic rock sound underneath it. It's a combination of just being incredibly relaxed when singing and only using the exact needed amount of breath to make it happen. It's like a perfect amount of balance, which lends itself nicely, ties itself into this meditative, contemplative quality. And the subject of this song, it's so like universal and loving. Johanna's voice is so crisp and pure. Almost reminds me of Simone, but without that over sheen. You know, Simone has a lot of sheen in her sound, but Johanna, again, like I was saying about Troy, it doesn't overextend itself. It doesn't go farther than it needs to go with sound, you know. And obviously everything I'm saying is tied to this recording, you know. I'm not talking about the universals of their voices, but in this recording and what we're hearing, it's so well chosen. Yeah, both of their voices are so pleasing. This whole song is like a mental and aural massage, right? It's a massage to your ears. That's what they sound like. And Johanna's, the ease in her voice and yet the forward, the brightness and the warmth in the sound, despite it being so forward, is so, so nice. They sound so nice together. Like nice. You know, this isn't intense and not powerful. It's not, I mean, it's powerful in its own respect, but it's, I use the word aural to define anything having to do with hearing. I don't think I'm an audiophile because I used the word aural. I have 2 degrees in music. I think I have the ability to use the word aural, Market. I respect it though. I respect the assertion. Yeah, it's like an aural massage though. There you go. And that's the texture that these voices together bring. And they counter each other so beautifully. So different from the acoustic versions we've heard Troy in, both playing and, well, was he singing in some of those? We've heard Troy sing before. And hearing him in this studio recording environment is just really, really nice. Really, really. It's so comforting. So comforting. How's the heart? Yeah. It's crazy because a single, synthesized violin, it's the duet between the voices and the emotion, right, of this song. It's really, really beautiful. Yeah, that was definitely like a synthesizer violin, a really nice synthesizer violin, a synth pad, yeah. But it was beautiful, very indistinguishable unless you know what you're listening to. A wonderful interlude to carry you from this warmth, this vocal warmth, and here's what I'm thinking about. The warmth of the voice is about them not going too low, not singing too high out of their comfortable voices, and lending itself to Thomas's ability to arrange music that suits the voice, which is something so rare in all genres. Someone who's, unless the singer themselves is writing their own music, it's hard to find it's a true gift when a composer understands how to write for specific voices. Because every voice has its own strengths and places where it's most comfortable. And then setting this song for these 2 singers in a way to mesh their voices in such a complex and yet, I would say, vocally ergonomic way. Yeah. Yeah. it's a real. This song is such a testament to that ability.
For to cross the Rubicon, softly pull the fences down, cross the waves across our lives. All I wanted was to go. All I wanted was to go.
Tasteful reverb. Yeah. I couldn't agree more, Market. Latin is a fantastic language to sing in, if not Italian, right? Those two languages just sing themselves. Mostly Italian. Italian is more sing-songy. But does anyone notice the parallels between that song Desert Flower from Auri and Shoemaker from Human Nature? Can someone tell me? I have a feeling Auri came out before Human Nature. The parallels are uncanny, really, because while Desert Flower and Shoemaker both have that atmospheric continuum sound, you know, that minimalistic repetition that kind of carries the song forward, they both end with exclamations of Latin words or phrases that kind of sum up the idea of the text in a really nice way. Just a cool thing to notice, you know, when looking at a composer's journey is how they structure their music and how that structure that they use maybe several times evolves between different things. Yes, yeah, I remember Johanna saying in Shoemaker as well. Did she do the harmony parts or did she speak? I'm recalling. Don't listen to it enough, but text with natural scenes behind and these scenes of longing almost, you know, if you take the identity, yeah, she does the spoken parts, right? If you take Thomas's identity as the character portrayed in, let's say, The Poet and the Pendulum, and then you project that following that era into a place where that poet is then, you know, unlocked in a new way, in a new direction, we can see this trend of longing in his music and hopes for humans, right? Hopes for our society to get further, right? And this compositional pad, the way he structured this song, the way he structured something like Shoemaker, and I'm sure there are plenty others that I haven't heard that follow a similar structure that, if listened all together, you know, you could hear the evolution of that structure from a, you know, compositional academic standpoint. I think it's very interesting. Yeah, Forkless, very legato in nature. The synth pad. So synth pads are really great for creating that wishy-washy texture, that flowy texture. but also those short repeated segments. You can bring it out. So what is it, like it was like a 4-against-8 and a 3-against-8 alternating, like a 7-8 pattern rhythmically in Shoemaker at the beginning. That creates this minimalistic loop that, though not as sonically subtle as what we heard here with the pads, it's more it still creates this fluid texture throughout the whole piece, which is about that legato. It's about that meditative state. Go listen to Philip Glass. I mentioned Philip Glass in some old recordings, and some people came back saying they went and listened to him and were super pleased. But Philip Glass was sort of the pioneer of minimalism in classical music, which then echoed elsewhere. So just keep that in mind. Go listen to put Philip Glass in a tab somewhere, or find him on Spotify or Tidal, whatever you use, and listen to some of that, because it's really fantastic use of minimalism to create that texture, that washing texture that you kind of just sit and absorb.